How are truck accidents different than auto cases? A lot of times clients ask me that question. Well, is it really any different if I have an auto case versus a truck accident case? Truck accident cases are a lot different. When a truck accident happens and causes serious injuries, the case has to be handled in a very different manner. And here's why. First of all, you need to be aware truck drivers are held to an entirely different standard than the average car driver. They are professional drivers, and as professional drivers, they have to exercise utmost care in their driving. Secondly, you need to know there are specific federal rules that apply to truck drivers, and these rules can be very useful in determining what happened, why it happened, how it happened, and what other sort of negligence may be going on behind the scene. For example, there are federal rules that require truck drivers to keep pre-trip and post-trip inspection records. Those records have to be maintained a certain period of time, and they will show you what the condition was of the truck when it left versus when it stopped. Truck drivers also have to keep logs of their driving time. Why? Because they're required to get off the clock and sleep certain amounts of time. They're required to have a certain amount of resting time because you don't want a drowsy driver behind the wheel of a big 18-wheeler. They have to keep records showing when they're off the clock, when they're on the clock. There are certain rules about where they can be. They can't even be behind the wheel sitting there doing nothing when they're off the clock. They have to be out of the truck. These are things you need to know. Truck drivers also have to keep driving logs. Those logs can show where they've been, how long it took them to get there, what they were hauling. There's all sorts of information you can obtain from these type of driver's logs. In addition to that, you can get a black box downloaded from the vehicle. The black box itself is a tracking device that will record data such as where the truck's been, how fast it's going, what its average speed was, when it applied brakes, when it didn't. There's a lot of data that you can obtain from a black box using an expert who knows how to interpret this data that you can then compare to their logs to see if the information they're giving you in writing is the same as the information that this black box recorded. Lastly, you need to know that truck drivers are required to have a drug test immediately after an accident occurs because the police want to determine whether or not there was anything in their system that could have played a part in that. Those records can be very important. Additionally, the medical records of a truck driver can be very important. Truck drivers are required to go get medical evaluations in order to be declared fit for driving a truck. Those evaluations have to be by somebody who is certified to do them. You need to double check and make sure they comply with that. If you want to get to the bottom of a serious truck accident, you have to do the work. Sometimes you even have to file a lawsuit and just litigate it out in order to get all this stuff and get the information in just so you can do a full evaluation and get a full picture of the damages in this case and of how bad the negligence really was.